Thanks, Rian, for taking the time to meet us. And I know that some students might be interested, or some of our viewers will be interested to hear about your internship story. To get started, by way of introduction, what's your background story like? What did you study in the university? Which university is it? And where have you worked in the past?
Oh, okay. So, hello, my name is Edrianne Garcia. I am actually studying applied corporate management from De La Salle University. So, to give you a brief overview about my course, it is actually business management, but leaning towards more of humanistic management and also more of a corporate lifestyle setting. So, we are actually required to do 3 internships so that we learn how to be more hands-on and also to apply our classroom learnings to the corporate setup. So how it goes is usually we alternate between academic terms and internship terms. And my previous internships, actually my 3 previous internships for the academic was, my first one was in Dreamless Digital, a marketing firm. And next was Kimberly Clark Professional. And my last one was Nestlé Philippines.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. So I guess we'll focus on Nestle, which is your most recent stint. For
Yeah.
those who have never heard of Nestle, what do they actually do? Like, if I'm a 7-year-old, how do you explain Nestle as a company to me?
Okay, so to put it in 2 simple words, Nestle is a food and beverage company. So if you see products like Cocoa Crunch, Nestle Fresh Milk, Honey Stars, Kit Kat Crunch, then you'll really distinguish it as Nestle. So they focus on food and beverage, and they also have a recent acquisition with YF Philippines. So if you see milk like Pro Mill, Bonakid, so that's Nestle in a nutshell. It's a food and beverage company which offers a variety of different categories of food.
All right, thank you. And what's your role or your main job in Nestle during your internship?
So my main job in Nestle was I was in charge of being a brand marketing intern under ProMill. So it's a YF
Mm.
brand actually.
All right. Thank you. And what do you think is the biggest misconception about your field? Like you're studying business
Mar-
management or marketing, and then you're a brand marketing intern. What do people usually think about your role, and what do you actually do?
Oh, okay. So I also had this mistake when I started. So I think we see a lot of in social media that marketing is more on going with the trend, and being a marketing girl is mostly just doing social media campaigns and also just doing posting content on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, but it marketing actually goes beyond that, especially being in brand marketing because you really have to know the brand by heart and also being able to conduct research about it. So you can't just make decisions because you feel like it's the right thing to do. You need to have a background because of it. And another thing is that marketing just goes beyond social media campaigns. You really have to know your consumers, your audience, because before I'd always think like, oh yeah, marketing would just be posting stuff on social media, but it really went beyond that, especially being in the milk brand, because you really have to take into consideration the parents, what they think, the kids, as well as the doctors. So
Right.
it was a really big misconception for me as well.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of research that's happening at the back end of that, because you can just release information to the public without proper data points or proper research conducted. So that's good. Now, as a brand marketing intern, would you be able to walk me through a day in your life? Like, what do you actually do all day? So when you start your day, even until you finish it.
As a brand marketing intern, I was actually given the roles to orchestrate PR campaigns and support the ProMill and ProMill Gold digital campaigns. So the social media content you see, especially with our KOLs or influencers. And I was also tasked to lead the creation of our lead ads, our double digit campaigns, and also our electronic digital mail. So a day in my life would be waking up at around 8 a.m. to go to the office because our time is you can either choose 8 to 5 or 9 to 6. So it's a very flexible work setting. And it's hybrid as of now. So usually I report 3 times a week and 2 days is work from home. So when I get to the office, I actually have my own workspace beside my super mentor or also my boss. And what I usually do is I'm given already a list of tasks. And also, since I'm in marketing, I communicate with a lot of agencies. Usually, I'm in the office the whole day looking at emails. And an example of what I do as a marketing intern is that I look at tasks and also see what social media proposals they have. So, for example, a KOL content. So, I have to be the one to screen it and approve it before I bring it to my boss for final approval. I am also in charge of giving comments about it, like, oh, you have to change this element because it would look better. Another thing was also really giving feedback on the ideas of the agency. You really had to give them constructive feedback on how you could improve on the content, on how we can make this more understandable to consumers. So that's more in the day of my life. And if ever I do have questions, I do ask my boss about it because before doing any approval, you really have to go through your boss because she gets the final say on everything. So and after that, it's usually more on approvals, going to meetings actually, because in marketing, we have a lot of brainstorming sessions. So we go through meetings with other departments on how to brainstorm different ideas. Because I came in as an intern around August to December, so it was year end. So we were already making plans for the next year. So it was really orchestrating the ideas for the next year of the brand. And
Right.
after that, I end my day. I usually just go back home, and that's usually how my day just goes. It's working on my laptop, doing meetings online or offline.
Right. Thank you for sharing your day in the life that gives our listeners and students a bit of an overview of what your day looks like. So far, or in your previous work, what's the coolest thing you've worked on at Nestle?
I think the coolest thing I did work on is working with influencer KOLs because it was such a fun experience for me and actually challenging because the agencies would actually um send me the KOL campaigns, the proposed content, and I'd be the one to help bring it to life or also improve it. And it was such a fun experience for me to actually get to see it be posted online and actually see that, oh, that was my idea. That was the one that I also helped in making it better, editing it. And I think it was very fulfilling for me because it was my feedback was actually being heard. It wasn't like disregarded or like my boss really gave me the responsibility to improve it. She would also agree with my feedback. So it was very fulfilling for me. And also, I really got to see my ideas come to life. So that was one of the most accomplishing that I was able to do. And also, it doesn't limit to that naman. It's also the double digit campaigns, also seeing how your ideas also, like, oh, if you give feedback, they actually change it, and then when you see it, it's like, oh, that really is my work in social media and Facebook. So it really makes you think that you were able to help the brand and also help the company flourish as well.
Awesome. That sounds great. And I think there's a sense of pride as well when you're seeing
Yeah.
the output after, the brainstorming and feedback that you have given. Now, let's rewind back to when you were a student and just looking for internship opportunities. As you've mentioned, you're supposed to look for 3 internships that would, where you will learn a lot. How did you first find out about the brand marketing intern in Nestle?
I actually saw an opening in LinkedIn, but it was general, saying it was open for the Nestle internship program. And when you click on the link, it usually leads you to the Nestle internship database. So it's their own website. You upload your resume, your profile, and you basically make an account in that website. And next is that to undergo assessments for it to see if you qualify to be an intern. So usually that took around 2 months for until I got a call. So what happened was I got a call from HR first. And she was basically asking me the basic questions like, oh, when is my academic year? When does it start? When does it end? And that's when she actually tells you what the openings are and what they think will be a fit for you. So that was actually why she redirected me to brand marketing. But she just said actually the brand marketing. She didn't say for what brand yet. And after that, you go to a second interview if you qualify for the first interview. And then that's when my boss actually interviewed me to see if I was a good fit for them. So basically there was two interviews, and then after that, it was quite fast already because on that week I already got a acceptance from them.
Right. That's really fast. We used to ask a couple of interns in the past, and typically the turnaround time for us is like 2 weeks. So having your entire application process in 1 week is really short in comparison with other employers. And based on, there are a lot of employers out there. What was it that first made you interested with Nestle? Why them? Like, walk me through your decision making. Like, how did you narrow down your options? Did you look into the salary, the benefits, when actually choosing this job?
So why I got interested in Nestle was because I'd always see them online, and I also see physically their building when I'd go to Rockwell. It's a brand that we grew up since childhood, right? So
Right.
Bobo Crunch and all our Kit Kat Crunch, and you knew it was Nestle. So I always wanted or had an interest to work in it because I saw that other interns really had the opportunity to grow there. And also, I heard that they have a good working environment. And with that, I felt like I could also push myself to be in that environment. And I knew that I could learn so much to be in Nestle. My most was really not the salary. I really wanted to look at the work environment. So I kept looking at feedback from my classmates, from my batchmates who actually went to Nestle. And they all had positive feedback regarding it. And they were like, oh, you really get to learn a lot. They'll really help you there. And of course, it's like being immersed in a community or like a workspace full of professionals who really know what they're doing, who's very expert in their work already. So that's what I wanted to do, was to really immerse myself in that setting and also get to experience what it was really like to be in that company. And also for a company as big as Nestle, I knew that everything was fast paced, everything was, you really had to learn quick and also give your idea. So it was more on me wanting to step out of my comfort zone and really seeing like, oh, I think I can really do this and I can immerse myself in this. Even if I was a new student or like I had no prior experience in brand marketing or being in that company that big, I wanted to push myself to be exposed to that kind of environment.
Which I think is a good decision. Like, not everyone would want to go out of their comfort
Yeah.
zone just to experience things, right? I know that your application process was quite short, but within that week, what was the hardest part of your application process?
The hardest part would have to be the second interview I had with my boss, because as someone who didn't really know most about brand marketing, it was really like intimidating at first that oh, what questions would she ask? But it was really, when I went into that interview, it was really on getting to know one another, getting to know what were my previous experiences, also knowing that what I was exposed with before, what did I learn in my previous internships. So it was really something that for me was the hardest because it was something I wasn't immersed in. Before, I was a marketing intern, but it was more of a business to business type of company. But now in Nestle, it was really business to consumer. So I knew it was fast paced. You had to learn things very quickly and also being in charge of a brand. So for me, it was the second interview that was the most challenging.
Right? And how did you prepare for that interview? Was there some kind of ritual, or did you have like a bullet point list of all questions that you have to prepare for?
Yes, actually, the basic questions in an interview, like, oh, can you introduce yourself? Where did you study? What's your course? What are your previous experiences? So I had a sheet of that in my laptop. So that's how I prepared. And I also practiced a lot in Zoom by myself, like just in case that they would
Right.
ask questions. So I needed to know how I'd answer it. I needed to know the flow. So those are the things that I actually prepare for my interview. So it really helps to have a sheet of all consolidated questions that they might ask you, so that when they ask you, you're ready, you don't really stutter a lot, and that you sound confident.
And this interview happened via Zoom, right? Because I
Yes,
think it was
via.
online. Yeah, great. And how did you think you got the job? Like, what do you think made you stand out in the recruitment process?
I think what made me stand out was my previous experiences, because especially in my organizations and my previous internships, because although I may not have a brand marketing background, I had some things that were similar, and the skills that they needed were also very similar to it. So for example, I tried working on campaigns, and of course in my organizations I already have tried leading a team and also working with a team, which is very important when you go into the corporate world, because of course you have to work with a lot of people. When you're in marketing, you have to work with agencies, you have to work with different departments. So it was really more on your collaborative skills, as well as your time management skills, how you work with multiple deadlines, how fast you're able to absorb new learnings or new concepts. So I think that's what made me stand out, was my previous experiences, which is actually very important if you do enter an internship, because they really do look at your previous organizations, your previous internships, to really see what you did that was significant and how it helped the company.
Would you say that including organizations that they joined in the past, because you mentioned they also look into your leadership skills,
Yes.
how do you think would students translate that into like their resume or CV? Is that something that would be ideal to be included in there?
Yes, but I think that because usually in a resume, people want to see short and concise. We were actually recommended to do one and then maximum 2 pages for our resume. So even if you joined so much organizations before, you have to include the ones that were very significant and you felt like you made the most impact on. So that's
Mm-hmm.
really what I would recommend, because companies don't really have time to read a 4-page resume, even if you put everything there. So you have to keep it concise, short, and really just place what you did that helped contribute to the success of that event, of that organization, how you led. So they really get to see your qualities and what you accomplished and what were your KPIs.
Yep, and maybe something that's also relevant to the role you're applying for, right? Um,
Yes.
now, I guess in the application process, what would be your single best piece of advice for anyone wanting to nail their application at Nestle?
For me, your resume really is the start of everything, because that's how they see you. So, from what I said before, it has to be short and concise, but it really says all your achievements. They want to see results, so they need to see what your role was and what the results that you acquired for it. For the interview, I do believe that you have to be confident when you talk about yourself, when they ask you a question, and when you talk about your previous accomplishments or your experiences, you have to sound confident and also really maintain eye contact as well, because you really want to establish a connection with your interviewer. So you really
Mm.
have to know that you have to sound confident all the time, and that you're very assured, you're very sure of your answers.
Thank you. Those are helpful tips, and prepare your resume well, make it relevant, and prepare before your interview, and make sure that you have that eye contact and be confident with your answers as well. In
Yeah.
terms of like getting when you got the job, what did your initial first few days training and onboarding process look like at Nestle? Did you go to their office immediately on your first day, or did you have a Zoom meeting first before actually meeting
Oh,
everyone?
I went to the office on the first day already, so it was like straight onboarding. And at that time, my boss actually onboarded me on the first day already. She oriented me about the Promil brand and what the brand was about, where did it start. So the basic things that you should know. And also she let me learn about the brand guidelines, what the brand properties were. And it actually took me around 2 or 3 days to get fully onboarded in what the brand was, because honestly it was a lot. to take in the first time. And it was very fast. My super mentor, my boss, really just gave me an overview of everything. She explained everything on what we're doing now, what was it before. So, because of course, if you work with a brand, you have to know it from where it started to where it is now so that you don't repeat what happened before. And so it took me like 2 to 3 days to get fully onboarded. But to be honest, it took me a month to fully adjust on my role because, of course, in the first few weeks, you don't really know what you're doing at the start because everything's so new. You have to meet lots of people, lots of agencies that you have to work with. And you really needed a lot of guidance from the start, which I'm very thankful for with my boss because she really guided me on how to do things and how to give feedback because I was never familiar with that because my previous experiences, I was always the one getting the feedback, always the one editing the assets, but now it was my turn to give the feedback and
Mm.
actually give constructive comments on how to improve it. So it was really a stepping stone for me. So it took me about a month to really grasp the idea of what ProMill was, what my role was as brand marketing. Of course, I made a few mistakes along the way, but with those mistakes, I really learned so much. I realized so much things that, oh, marketing really is something that's not easy. It doesn't come as what they really advertise it on social media. So it took me a month to really warm up to everything. And after that, it was like more on flowing already. I knew the processes and who to
Mm.
contact, how to talk to these agencies in different departments and who to approach. So yeah, that was my onboarding process.
It's now a full circle of you receiving feedback to now you giving feedback to
Yeah.
people, which is really nice. Now, what did you find the most surprising about your internship when you first started? Was there an expectation versus reality moment kind of meme that, hey, this isn't what it was supposed to be, but this is what's happening now?
Well, my expectations were just pure social media. Like, of course, in marketing, I really thought that, yeah, I'm just in charge of social media posts and I'd be the one to make the social media posts actually. But when I entered, my boss told me that you'll be the one to give feedback. You'll be the one to see how you should improve it already. So you're on the other end. And she really wanted to give me the responsibility to give the comments instead of me receiving it. And
Mm.
another thing was that I was really surprised is how fast paced it was. Like, yes, I was anticipating it to be fast paced, but I never got the experience of how fast paced it was. So every day you really have a task you have to do, and you have to really hit the deadline because if you don't, it's like a domino effect that, example, this campaign doesn't get published. It's like a domino effect because the other campaigns don't get published until that post actually gets published. So you really have to be very meticulous and also very punctual with your deadlines. Another thing was really I had to pay attention to detail because of course before it gets posted, everything that gets posted reflects the brand already and people will see it, no matter how small the detail is. So that's one thing I really learned. You have to be very detail oriented and you really had to know how to spot mistakes, how to spot things that weren't supposed to be included because of course working with milk is very crucial as well to like parents and kids. So that was very that was very shocking to me. At the same time, it also made me realize so much things that it really depends on the brand you're working on because of course I think in other brands they also have other guidelines to follow, other rules. So it really made me pay close attention to detail as well as really making me learn that when you're in charge of a brand, you really have to know it by heart and you have to be there from start to finish. You can't just leave a campaign in the middle. You have to be the one to start it at the same time finish. So that's really what
Alright.
I learned. Expectation versus reality to super far because expectations was really so small, but the realities was that I really handled a lot of projects, which I'm very thankful for.
There are a lot of things happening at the back end. It's not just about posting social media. There are a lot of things that you also have to go through and have to complete at the back end. In terms of training and learning opportunities, what learning and development opportunities do you have access to at Nestle?
So the learning and development is, of course, I have a laptop where I can really work with and my email is there. Everything is actually in that laptop. So all the files that I need to know about the brand, all the files that the agencies give me is there. And also the learning in Nestle, actually, they have online courses that they offer for like marketing or also to help us improve in the marketing department. So that was mostly what I did. We also have other programs. So we have a tree planting program where you really get to help contribute to sustainability as well.
That's nice. So you also have upskilling options, and what I've heard a while ago is that you have a mentor or your
Yeah.
supervisor that also provides feedback on the work that you do. Looking at your work-life balance, what does the work-life balance look like for someone in your role at Nestle? Would you say that your workload is high or it's a lot, and how stressful you say your job is?
In ProMill, I was actually in the nutrition department. And I could say that my department was very healthy. All the team members were very welcoming to me and also really helped me with adjusting as an intern. Because, of course, when I started, I was very shy. I didn't really want to talk to anybody because I was intimidated. But they really helped me adjust. They really helped me a lot with my tasks because, of course, they had a role improving ProMill or being in ProMill. So they really paid a role on when I would ask questions, and they were really there to explain everything to me, especially my supervisor, my boss. The work-life balance for me was very good actually because they'd actually very respect your personal time. So it's really more on work is work, and if you're done with work, avoid as much as possible already messaging other people about it because you need your own time, you need your own space. So they really respected that. Even if you go on leaves or if you're sick, they really respect that you need to go to the doctor or you can work from home as well. So they were very understanding. So it was a very supportive environment. It was very beneficial to me because it really helped me grow as an intern as well because of how they really pushed me to my limits and also encouraged me to give feedback and put my ideas whenever we had brainstorming sessions.
Nice. How much leave did you get in Nestle?
We don't
Or did
actually
you take any leaves at all?
um I actually did one time because I was sick and they really said, yeah, it's okay, it's not a problem. We're not actually given a certain number of leaves, but you really have to inform your boss about it
Hmm.
before you take a leave. You have to inform them so that they can prepare as well.
How about your social life? Or work social life look like? Did you make friends while working at Nestle?
Yes, yes, I actually made friends with the team. I got to know them actually when I started to get to warm up. I also made friends with other departments because there are also other interns in my floor and other interns in different departments. So I really got to socialize, to get to know them, what their roles were. But it was really mainly knowing the nutrition department of, oh, this is your role, this is what you do. And they'd also invite me to a lot of hangouts or like dinner after work. So it was really getting to know them more beyond than just work, but also on a personal level, on how they were as a person. So it was very refreshing for me as well to get to know them outside of the working environment.
Right, that's nice. And it's also a form of networking, because
Yes.
eventually like you get to build like lasting relationships with
Connection.
the people you work with. Now, let's look at salary and career progression because students would always want to know about two things in terms of like internships and job applications. It's the salary and the career progression. What does the salary and benefits look like at Nestle? Would you say it's competitive, or don't have to share the exact
Okay.
figure, but would you say that it's something that, is acceptable at least for students looking for intern role?
Yes, the salary is actually very much acceptable as an intern role because it's actually enough for an intern already. And in terms of benefits, we usually, for me, the benefits that I got from the office were that there was home cooked food. So in the canteen, we actually have very good home cooked food. Like you do have to pay for the food, but it was a great help to me because I actually do not live in Manila. I came from Cebu, so I lived in Manila, so I don't really have home cooked meals. I usually do take out. So being in Nestle and seeing that they have a canteen who serves home cooked meals was very beneficial for me because it was healthy and at the same time I didn't have to do takeouts a lot. and it was a very good price already, so I got to save. Another thing is that they have a Nestle store, so with technically everything's cheaper compared to groceries. So we usually shop there already if we want any cereal or milk. So it was also an added benefit for that. Other benefits is that I got to go out with my teammates. So that was another benefit. I got to know them more. I also got to meet new people. So for me, that's also a benefit because I really wanted to connect, like what you said, with other people as well. I also got to attend different events to see how other departments work and what were the other campaigns that other brands were also activating.
It's like a very fun culture and very welcoming and warm, especially for interns and those who are new in the company. If you look into the career path, can you walk us through the typical career path for your role at Nestle? Like, where does your role lead to in the future? Like, after your internship, does it typically go into a full time, a supervisor, or a manager?
After your internship, you actually can apply for other full-time jobs if they are open. The Leslie website usually has a list of open jobs that you can apply for. But ideally, what us interns do is that we apply for the management training program because since we already exposed to Nestle, it's actually, I think, easier for us to transition. But of course, you still have to go through the same assessment. You have to go through the same test that you need to be accepted to be a management trainee program. So if you do get accepted there, of course, you'll have the training, and I think you'll have a period of around 2 years as well, so that you get to train for your role and also get to experience other departments. So that's usually the role we take as interns. So it's either you want to be a management trainee, you can get endorsed, I think. If you don't want to be a management trainee, I think most of them apply to be full-time or ask for an absorption as well.
I am hearing more and more companies offering graduate programs like a
Yeah.
management trainee, which allows students, fresh graduates to like decide and be in different departments and get to experience the work before they actually decide that, hey, this is the role that I want to stay in for a long time. Would you happen to know how long do people generally stay at Nestle, like with the people that you've interacted with? Are they staying for 5, 3 years, or up to 10 years or so?
You mean the full-time employees?
Yep, like the length of stay that they've had.
Yeah, around they actually have stayed there for more than 5 years from my department. So they've been there for a long time. So 5 years, some actually 10 years. So they really did stay with the company because they said they do like the work environment very much and that it's very beneficial for them. And it's also
Mm.
because of the work-life balance that they get as well.
If the reason I ask that is because it also shows the culture of the company. How long people stay in your company means that they also like staying and working with
Yes.
everyone inside the company. Looking at your long-term career plans, now that you have finished your internship, what are your long-term career plans and where are you headed from here on?
So my long-term career plans would really, I also want to be in a management trainee program, really knowing more about the corporate setup, learning more skills. And someday I really hope that I also get a brand marketing manager position. So as of now, that's really what I want because being in marketing really made me learn that I know it's a lot, but I also get to learn a lot in the process and communicate with people. And it also is beneficial for me because I developed so much skills because of it. And I also got to actually learn more about my potential to do things. So of course it is a hard path, but it's something that I know will help me grow in the future. So in the long term, I really want to be in a multinational company because I really get to learn a lot because of it. And I really get to develop my social and communicative skills, which is something that I haven't developed in the past.
That sounds exciting. I hope you'll be able to get into a management trainee program and eventually flourish in the marketing world. I know a couple of people who have enjoyed marketing as well. If you had a second chance again, what would you do differently, or like looking back, is there something that you would like to do differently during your internship role or any regrets?
No regrets, but I do have some things that I could have improved on, which was my confidence from the start because I was pretty much very intimidated at the start because it was a new company, new people, a new role. So I was very shy at first. I didn't talk a lot. And I learned that if I could change something to the past, I'd be confident in my actions and my decisions, not really always questioning myself if it was right or like, oh, if I speak up, do you think they'll listen to me? Because I learned in the long run of my internship, they would always encourage me to give my ideas, to propose what I would think of, like, oh, Rian, what are your thoughts about it? And then when I'd say my comments, it actually helped them a lot when we would be brainstorming a campaign, they'd actually take into consideration. Like the whole team would be like, oh yeah, that is a good idea. We should place that in. So I really felt like, oh, I really am helping and I'm really contributing to what they're doing. They actually take into consideration what I'm saying because of course I think all interns have this mindset that, oh, you're just an intern, you don't really get to have a say in anything. But when I went into Nestle, they really made me feel like I was a full-time employee and I was really part of the company. So if I could change something, it would be my confidence to speak up earlier because I knew that if I did speak up earlier, I think I'd also be able to work on my communication skills and really know how to give more constructive feedback and also really get to give my ideas because I saw how much it helped them. So that would be one thing that I would really change is believing in yourself and not it's okay to doubt, but I don't think you should doubt yourself as much, knowing that they really consider you as being part of the team and that your feedback or your comments are also being considered and you're listened to.
You're being heard. So
Yeah.
that was a very nice realization, I think. Looking back, do you feel your internship was worth it?
Yes, even if I was very scared at the start, it was very worth it and it really helped me grow and develop my character so much. Even if it was only like 4 to 5 months, I learned so much in a span of 4 months. I learned a lot of concepts, I learned a lot of skills. So it was very worth it for me and I was really glad to take that risk.
Okay, thank you. And what's something that most people believe about internship that you found to be completely false after, your experience?
What we usually think as interns, right, is that we are just people who help with like what you see in movies. It's mostly clerical work, like oh, get coffee,
Yeah,
go to
photocopy things.
this, just give this to the boss. But then when I was in my internships, and it's actually been very beneficial to our program as well because they really set the standards to our because in the Applied Corporate Management program we already have partner companies, so they really set rules that we need to take roles that really contribute to the company and not just limited to doing the coffee, the photocopy. So they really made sure of that. So they know that students really do make an impact and we learn a lot. So I think that's one thing that I learned from an internship because of course when you start internship you're like, yeah, I won't do much because I'm sure they won't give me anything. But in all my internships, they actually gave me a project and they gave me responsibility of it because usually some bosses really just help you more along the way, like if it's one project they help you throughout, but through my internships, especially in Nestle, they learn how to trust you with your work and they also say na yes, I do trust you with what you're doing and you make this decision yourself, so you really own the projects that you do. It's very fulfilling to actually see them come to life knowing that you did it by yourself.
That's
Yeah.
like an application of everything that you've learned in the university or in school, and then here you go. We'll let you do your thing and hopefully excel in that aspect. So I guess before you wrap up, my last question would
Yes.
be any final advice you'd share with new graduates or students starting out at Nestle, like interns who will start at Nestle?
Two things I'd like to say, I think. So one, it's okay to not be confident at the start, but know that being confident also helps with being in your role because the more you give your ideas or the more you speak up, the more you'll actually help the company and they will listen to you. So it's really more on being confident and being sure of your decisions, being sure of what your tasks are, knowing how to do them, and never be afraid to ask questions because, of course, you're starting out in a new environment, you're starting out in a new company. So it's very normal that you don't know everything and you don't have to know everything. But the key is to really keep asking questions to understand things better because you can't understand unless you ask. Because if you do things yourself and you think it's right, then sometimes it doesn't benefit the outcome. So instead of actually giving the right outcome, we give the wrong outcome, which causes a lot of consequences. So I think it's really asking questions and being confident about it as well. It's okay to be shy, but you really have to learn how to ask questions because when you ask questions, you also get to learn from your supervisor and other team members. The second would be don't be afraid to take the risk. Nestle, yes, it can be intimidating at first because it's a very big company. It's a big FMCG. Everyone knows about it, but you'll never know unless you try. So just send that application form. It doesn't matter if you think you'll get accepted or not because you never know because Nestle sees something that you don't, and your boss will see something that you don't see in yourself as well. So it's really for me and for others, take the risk and really step out of your comfort zone because that's really the way on how you can grow as a person and you learn so much because of it. So
That's
yes.
so nice. Yes, thank you. Confidence and taking risks. Those are
Yeah.
really helpful things that they have to remember. So yeah, we really appreciate your time, Rian, this afternoon. I know that you might have a busy schedule, but yeah, thank you for taking the time. Thank you for sharing your experience. This will
Thank
really
you for
help a lot of
having me.
future Nestle students or even interns because the insights you've given are really helpful, and I really enjoyed chatting with you.
Me too. Thank you so much for having and considering me.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you, Rian. I hope you enjoy the rest of your afternoon and best of luck in your next
Thank you.
career, next chapter. Bye.
Thank you, Crimsel. Bye.